All right, welcome to the main event. Today we're putting two heavyweights of cloud file storage into the ring for a head-to-head showdown. In one corner, we have Amazon's Elastic File System, or EFS, and in the other, Microsoft's Azure Files. We're going to break down what they do, where they excel, and help you figure out which one is the right champion for your workload.
You know that feeling, right? You log into AWS or Azure, and you're just hit with this wall of service options. It's so easy to get completely lost in a sea of acronyms and features. You start asking yourself, which one is faster? Which one's going to be cheaper? And most importantly, which one is actually the right fit for my project? It's classic analysis paralysis.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do here. The goal is simple. We're going to cut right through all that noise. We'll give you a clear, direct comparison, pulling back the curtain on these two services so you can make a smart decision without all the headache.
So let's meet our contenders. In the blue corner, from the cloud giant AWS, we have Amazon EFS, the elastic, totally serverless file system. And in the red corner, the managed file share powerhouse from Microsoft, Azure Files. Okay, let's get this thing started.
First up, round one, core identity. Let's get down to their fundamental DNA. I mean, what were these services really designed to do from the very beginning?
At their heart, both EFS and Azure Files are what we call network-attached storage, or NAS. Just think of it like a central shared hard drive up in the cloud. Multiple computers, or virtual machines, can all connect to it and share the same files at the exact same time.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. The biggest difference right off the bat is the language or the protocol they speak. EFS, for the most part, speaks NFS, which is the native tongue for Linux systems. Azure Files, on the other hand, is fluent in SMB, the protocol that's baked into every version of Windows, though, to be fair, it does support NFS now too. This one difference has a massive impact on where each service feels most at home.
And you know what? Here's a fantastic reality check from a user over on Reddit. And they make a really crucial point. While we're comparing these two popular services, a lot of folks in the tech community would argue that Amazon's other service, Amazon FSx, is actually a much more direct competitor to Azure Files, especially if you're in a Windows world. But for today, we're sticking to this classic EFS versus Azure Files matchup.
All right, let's move on to our next round, performance and scale. When your application suddenly blows up, which it hopefully will, can your storage actually keep up with the demand? And this slide perfectly captures their two completely different philosophies on how to handle growth. Amazon EFS is, well, it's truly elastic. It's a serverless design that just automatically grows and shrinks as your data changes. You don't have to do a thing. Azure Files takes a more structured route, offering these distinct performance tiers that you get to choose from, letting you find that perfect balance between raw speed and your budget. And you can really see the appeal of the EFS approach in this quote from a senior DevOps engineer. That set it and forget it auto-scaling is just a huge draw for teams that want to spend less time managing storage and more time building. But hey, don't count Azure Files out. This quote shows its raw power and its rock-solid reliability. When you have a massive, predictable event coming up, like a huge product launch, you can configure Azure's performance tiers to handle that crazy spike in traffic, no problem. All right, time to talk about the thing on everyone's mind, money. Round 3 is all about the price tag. And as you're about to see, it's a lot more complicated than just the cost per gigabyte.
And it's probably no surprise that their pricing models perfectly mirror their scaling philosophies. EFS is a pure pay-as-you-go model. This gives you incredible flexibility, which is great for workloads that go up and down. Azure, on the other hand, focuses on reservations and fixed tiers, which gives you something incredibly valuable, cost predictability. That's a massive win for anyone trying to manage a stable budget.
But you got to be careful here. Just looking at the pricing page can be super misleading. There's a major factor that often catches people completely by surprise, and it can seriously inflate your bill on either one of these platforms. So here it is, the hidden cost driver, data egress fees. What's that? It's the cost of moving your data out of the cloud provider's network. Whether you're sending it out to the public internet or even just to another one of their own data centers in a different region, both AWS and Azure are going to charge you for it. And believe me, this can be one of the trickiest parts of your cloud bill to predict and control.
Okay, for our final round, let's see how these services fit into their larger families. Because after all, no cloud service is an island. It's all about how well they play with others.
Amazon EFS is AWS native through and through. It was literally designed from the ground up to work seamlessly with all the core AWS services you'd expect, like EC2 servers, Lambda functions, and their Kubernetes and container services. This super deep integration makes it a powerful and, frankly, a very simple choice if your whole world is already built on AWS.
Azure Files, on the other hand, really shines as this hybrid powerhouse. Its native SMB support is an absolute dream for anyone in a Windows environment, and features like Azure File Sync let you cache files on your local servers, seamlessly bridging your own data center with the cloud. Oh, and the integration with Microsoft Entra ID for managing user access? That's another major win for a lot of companies.
So after 4 tough rounds, who comes out on top? Well, the truth is, there is no single winner. The champion in this fight depends entirely on the job you need it to do. It really is about picking the right tool for the right job.
So let's recap the tale of the tape one last time. For EFS, its biggest strengths are that automatic, hands-off scaling, its native Linux feel with NFS, and that deep integration inside the AWS ecosystem. Azure Files counters with its massive strength in Windows and hybrid setups, its predictable cost model, and those powerful on-premises caching abilities.
So, how do you choose? Well, you should probably choose Amazon EFS if your world is mostly Linux-based. Pick it if you love the idea of a set-and-forget serverless file system that just works. And it's pretty much a no-brainer if your apps live and breathe other AWS services like EC2 or Lambda.
And when is Azure Files your champion? You should pick it if you're running a Windows shop or a hybrid environment that mixes on-prem servers with the cloud. It's your go-to for native SMB file shares that feel exactly like the ones in your office. And if budget predictability is king, or you absolutely need to sync files between the cloud and your local servers, Azure Files was basically built for you.
And that leaves us with a final, big-picture question to think about. As cloud architectures just keep evolving, do you think one of these models will eventually win out? Will that elastic, pay-as-you-go approach become the default for everything? Or is the future of cloud storage always going to be about carefully and strategically picking the perfect tool for each specific job? It's definitely something to chew on as you build your next big thing.